Hello, my beautiful Libra soul, welcome to Zodiac Whisper Tarot. This isn't just a video. It's a moment. A calling. A divine appointment. And if you're watching this right now, it's because the universe is urging you to listen. Let me ask you this, have you been feeling unsettled lately? A strange heaviness in your chest, like something's off but you can't quite name it? If so, you're not alone. And you're not imagining it. In fact, I believe you were guided here today for one sacred reason. There's someone in your energetic field who does not wish you well. But the higher realms, your angels, your ancestors, the divine itself are stepping in. This reading is for you, Libra. It's deep. It's direct. And it may reveal what you've sensed all along but didn't dare say out loud. Someone close to you is speaking your name with darkness in their heart, but they will not succeed. You are divinely protected. And their energy is already returning to them tenfold. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to remind you of something you've always known deep down, that you were never meant to be ordinary. You were born with an aura of balance, light, and quiet strength. But when light shines this brightly, shadows are always triggered. And still light always wins. You see, the universe doesn't make mistakes. Your being here right now is proof that divine timing is in motion. You didn't click this video. Your soul did. And no matter what chaos may be swirling around you, you are the calm in the storm. You are the justice in the storm. Because you are Libra, the sign of divine balance. There's a sacred verse that says, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." And while I won't quote scripture directly, I want you to hold this truth close. The darkness may move, but it will never have the final say. Before we go further, I invite you to type in the comments, "I claim divine balance and spiritual protection." This small act opens an energetic door, a signal to the universe that you're ready for clarity, for peace, and for truth. And if the number 33 has been showing up for you lately on receipts, clocks, license plates, know this. It's a sign that the ascended masters are close. Their presence means you're on the right path and that your healing, your victory, your justice is near. Let me also take a heartfelt moment to thank you. Your presence here is everything. Every like, every comment, every time you share this space or subscribe, it deepens your connection to this soul community. It helps keep this channel, Zodiac Whisper Tarot, alive and allows us to continue bringing these sacred messages to light. And trust me, Libra, you'll want to stay with me until the very end of this reading. Because what the universe is about to reveal to you today is not just information. It's a revelation. A turning point. So now tell me, what intuitive pull brought you here today, my loyal Libras? Sometimes, what we perceive as resistance or strange misalignments in our lives isn't just a string of bad luck or random misunderstandings. Often, it's the energetic ripple of someone else's unspoken thoughts or intentions, especially when those thoughts come from someone close to us. For Libra, a sign governed by Venus and blessed with a gift for harmony, this kind of disruption feels especially jarring. You thrive in peace, in balance, in beauty. So when your inner world begins to feel cloudy or distorted, it's not something to ignore, it's a signal. A whisper. An invitation to gently lean into the discomfort and listen more closely to what your environment is telling you. While it may be painful to consider that someone near you, a friend, a coworker, or even a family member could be projecting jealousy or bitterness toward your light, it's also a profound opportunity. Not an opportunity to fight back, but to pause. To cleanse. To choose again. Because in astrology, as in life, every opposition brings with it a mirror. What this person feels toward you isn't truly about you, it's about what your calmness reflects back to them. Your grace, your clarity, your rising success, these qualities can trigger insecurities in others who haven't yet found their own alignment. This is why we must not take these projections personally. And this is where our emotional maturity is tested. What you are facing now is not a punishment, it's a preparation. You're being asked to anchor more deeply into your own center, to purify your space, and to decide what kind of energy you will allow moving forward. That's what the intersection between collapse and rebirth really means, not something external crashing down, but an inner reordering of your energetic ecosystem. A sacred pause before expansion. Libra, your soul is wise. You've lived long enough to know that not all battles are visible, and not every wound leaves a scar you can see. But every time you choose to respond with awareness instead of reaction, with grace instead of resentment, you reinforce a kind of quiet power that no curse, no envy, no judgment can touch. And even though this person may be stirring chaos, the universe is not blind. Every energy sent is recorded. Every intention cast is accounted for. And in time, always in perfect time, things return to their source. It's not revenge. It's not punishment. It's the natural rhythm of cause and consequence. You don't need to expose them. You don't need to wish them harm. You don't even need to understand their motives. All that is asked of you is that you cleanse your space physically, emotionally, spiritually. Let go of objects that carry emotional heaviness. Breathe deeply into your mornings. Speak kindly over your own name. And let the energy that does not serve you fall away without resistance. Remember, you are not powerless here. You are not a victim of hidden forces or negative intentions. You are, in fact, the only one who holds the authority to open or close the door to your energy field. The responsibility is sacred, but it is also deeply empowering. And when you choose to protect your peace without closing your heart, that is the moment heaven smiles on you. That is the moment your soul graduates to its next level. Just as we're reminded in the most ancient wisdom traditions, the darkness cannot extinguish the light. It can only distort what you have not yet fully owned. So now is the time, Libra, to fully own it. Your beauty. Your clarity. Your inner compass. And to remember, when you protect what is sacred within, the universe will protect everything around you. It's often said that the most dangerous harm is not the one that roars, but the one that whispers behind a mask. And that is exactly the energy surrounding you now, dear Libra. Quiet, hidden intentions. Smiles that don't reach the eyes. Words that carry one meaning but conceal another. You've sensed it not because you're paranoid, but because your soul, as always, is tuned to the subtle shifts in vibration. The tarot revealed it plainly: justice, 7 of Swords, temperance. These aren't just cards, they are mirrors, each reflecting back a layer of truth you may have been trying to ignore or rationalize. Someone around you is hiding who they really are, but the truth, no matter how carefully it's concealed, has a divine rhythm. It always finds its way into the light. You don't need to chase justice. You don't need to expose them. You simply need to stay aligned with who you are. That's the message here. Temperance isn't just about balance, it's about restraint, about clarity through patience. It's about trusting that your peace is a force field. And in this very moment, Libra, it is. There is no need to lower yourself to match the vibration of anyone operating from fear, envy, or manipulation. Their mask will slip in time, not because you pull it off, but because truth like light does not ask permission to shine. Justice is not a loud thunderclap. It can be as soft as a sudden realization, as still as an opportunity missed, as silent as isolation settling into the life of someone who once thrived on illusion. The person who tried to create imbalance in your life will face their own reflection. And no, it isn't your job to deliver that outcome. That part isn't your weight to carry. As ancient wisdom reminds us, it's not our role to repay evil with evil, but to overcome darkness by choosing what is right even when it's hard. Right now, your greatest strength is your emotional self-control. You may feel the sting of betrayal, or the confusion of not understanding why someone would target your light, but you are being reminded to hold the line. To continue walking forward in grace. Let your character, your calm, and your quiet refusal to retaliate be your answer. Because the truth is, the ones who try to disturb the peace of others are already at war within themselves. You don't need to prove your worth. You don't need to seek revenge. You are already being watched over not by spirits or unseen forces but by the very reality that every action has a consequence. The person who tried to dim your light underestimated your clarity, your equilibrium, and your spiritual maturity. And that, dear Libra, is what will set the scales right. If you're questioning whether staying calm is enough, know this: stillness is not inaction. Stillness is power in its most graceful form. When the world tries to provoke you, but you choose not to flinch, you send a signal to life itself that you are not easily moved. That's when balance is restored. That's when protection is activated, not because someone else steps in, but because you stepped out of the loop of retaliation. There's beauty in letting life handle the hard part. Sometimes the best thing you can do is step back and say quietly to yourself, the truth will rise. It always does. You don't have to name them. You don't have to confront them. You just have to remember who you are and stay true to that. Let your integrity be your reply. Let your peace be your shield. And let the justice that is meant for you arrive in the way only it can, with perfect timing, quiet certainty, and undeniable grace. There are times when the planets above reflect not just what's happening around us, but what's stirring within us. Right now, Venus, your ruling planet, Libra, is moving into gentle harmony with Neptune, the planet of intuition, imagination, and subtle knowing. This celestial dance doesn't scream for attention, it whispers. It invites. It asks you to look inward with honesty and tenderness. You may notice that your inner world is becoming more sensitive, that your dreams are more vivid, or that certain emotions rise unexpectedly like waves returning to shore. That's not a mistake. It's alignment. It's the universe offering you a moment to soften into yourself and truly listen. And in this quiet alignment lies your opportunity. When Venus and Neptune connect in the sky, the invitation is not only spiritual but deeply personal. It's a reminder that your softness is not weakness, it's wisdom. That your desire for balance isn't avoidance, it's your gift. But even the most centered soul needs care. Even peace needs boundaries. Because when you're built to bring harmony, you can easily absorb the disharmony of others without even realizing it. That's why this is the time to ground yourself in rituals that nourish both your body and your emotional landscape. You don't need to overhaul your life. Small, consistent choices are far more powerful. Start with a moment of silence in the morning. Not to fix anything. Not to force clarity. But to offer your nervous system a signal: you're safe now. You can breathe. Whether it's a sound bath, a warm glass of lemon and ginger water, or just 5 slow breaths before looking at your phone, these are more than habits. They're sacred acts of self-respect. Don't worry if it feels strange at first. Creating inner stillness is unfamiliar to most people because we're not taught to prioritize it. But here's what I've learned from astrology, from psychology, and from the quiet wisdom that lives in each of us: stillness is not just the absence of chaos. It's the beginning of clarity. And when you learn to listen to yourself without judgment, your intuition becomes louder than any voice of doubt. Now more than ever, you're being asked to separate what's yours from what's not. People's opinions, projections, unhealed wounds, none of those belong to you, no matter how close they may seem. Libra energy, by nature, wants to make everyone feel seen, heard, and understood. But when that kindness becomes a doorway for energetic leaks, you begin to lose your center. And when you lose your center, you stop hearing your own wisdom. That's why tending to your mental, emotional, and physical space isn't selfish, it's how you stay available to the things that truly matter. There's an ancient truth that says, what you nurture, grows. And right now, you have a choice to nurture your own peace, your own clarity, your own resilience. To set down the weight of other people's chaos and simply return to yourself. You don't need permission to rest. You don't need validation to say no. You don't need to prove your worth through constant performance or emotional labor. Let this be your gentle reminder: your well-being is not a luxury. It's a foundation. And the universe, through its rhythms and alignments, is offering you a pause, not as a detour, but as a reset. You are allowed to move slowly. You are allowed to protect your energy. And most importantly, you are allowed to choose yourself quietly, fully, and without explanation. Colors and numbers are more than just aesthetic choices or arbitrary figures, they are frequencies, each carrying a subtle vibration that interacts with your energy field. For Libra, whose essence thrives on equilibrium, symmetry, and emotional harmony, these vibrations matter even more. They shape how you feel in a space, how clearly you think, and how confidently you make choices. So when we talk about the power of numerology and color in this phase of your journey, we're really talking about energetic tools, ways to realign, to protect, and to empower your inner compass. The number 2, for instance, speaks directly to your Libran core. It reminds you that balance is sacred, not just in relationships with others, but in the one you hold with yourself. It nudges you to pause before you choose, to ensure that your decisions are not just fair to others, but also to your own spirit. This is the number of discernment, not just agreement. A gentle reminder that it's okay to choose differently if your inner peace depends on it. Then there's the number 6, the healer of the heart. It carries the energy of unconditional love, the kind that doesn't come from perfection, but from presence. This number calls forward themes of family healing, emotional responsibility, and compassion without self-sacrifice. If you've been feeling distant from someone you care about, or disconnected from your own capacity to feel safe in love, 6 is your signal that restoration is possible, but it begins with how you speak to yourself when no one's listening. The number 22 is one of my favorites, a master builder. It shows up in your life when you're ready to rebuild something, not in reaction to fear, but through the foundation of clarity. Maybe a version of your life has already crumbled. Maybe a belief, a relationship, a dream. But this number isn't about mourning what was. It's about stepping forward to create what can be anchored in wisdom, no longer in survival. And you, Libra, with your deep sense of justice and vision, are more than capable of laying down new roots. And then we have 33. A sacred number that asks for forgiveness, not because others always deserve it, but because you do. Forgiveness, in this sense, is not a gift to them, it's a release for you. It's an energetic reset. It's saying, I choose not to carry what was never mine to hold. And every time you choose to forgive, even silently, you take back a piece of yourself that once got entangled in someone else's confusion. Just as numbers influence your inner state, so do colors affect your aura. Soft pink is especially powerful for you right now. It's a hue that heals the heart space, softens judgment, and calls in gentleness. It's not loud. It's not performative. It simply reminds you that vulnerability is not weakness. It is strength in its purest, quietest form. Mint green helps calm your nervous system, especially when the world feels overwhelming or overstimulating. It gives you permission to take a breath, to reset, to step back from energy that isn't yours to carry. And pearl white, clean, timeless, ethereal, is the color of energetic protection. Not from danger, but from distortion. It helps you think clearly, speak truthfully, and move with purpose. So wear these colors not just as decoration, but as intention. Let them wrap around you like armor made of light. Let the numbers you see guide you gently home to your center. And remember, you don't have to understand everything in order to feel supported. Sometimes, the most profound shift begins with a choice as simple as wearing softness, seeing beauty, or repeating a number that reminds you of who you truly are. Awareness is a quiet force, and for Libra, it's one of your greatest gifts. It doesn't shout or demand attention. It simply sees. It recognizes the subtle shift in energy when someone's words don't match their eyes, when a space that once felt safe now feels draining, when a pattern you've outgrown starts to repeat itself. And while the world may condition us to respond to pain with retaliation or resistance, your strength lies in something much more powerful: conscious disengagement. You don't need to fight to win. You simply need to see clearly and choose differently. This moment in your journey isn't asking you to confront darkness with more darkness. It's asking you to step out of cycles that no longer support your peace. And yes, that takes courage, the kind of quiet bravery that often goes unseen by others. But it is that very stillness, that grounded decision to protect your inner world, that creates real transformation. Because not every battle needs a battlefield. Some of the most significant victories happen in silence, when you decide that your energy is no longer available for what drains you. Forgiveness plays an essential role here. And let's be honest, it's not always easy. Especially when the wound feels fresh or the betrayal was deep. But forgiveness, in its truest form, isn't about excusing someone's actions. It's about reclaiming your space from them. It's about saying, you no longer get to live rent-free in my mind or my heart. When you forgive, you cut the cord of spiritual debt between you and the one who harmed you. You choose your freedom over your resentment. And that is not weakness, that is wisdom. From a higher perspective, forgiveness is also a recognition of human imperfection. People often hurt others out of their own pain, their fear, or their unmet needs. That doesn't make their actions okay. But it does offer you a way out of the story. You don't have to carry their suffering alongside your own. There's a deeper kind of justice that comes when you release them, not to escape consequences, but to allow natural accountability to unfold without your energy being tangled in it. In astrology, Libra is ruled by Venus, the planet of love, harmony, and beauty. But Venus also teaches discernment. It reminds us that choosing peace doesn't mean choosing passivity. It means becoming so anchored in your truth that you don't have to scream it from rooftops. You simply embody it. And that embodiment speaks louder than any defense you could ever make. There's also a quiet echo of ancient wisdom here. You've probably heard it said in many forms, even in spiritual texts, do not repay evil with evil. Overcome evil with good. It doesn't mean you let people walk over you. It means you walk away with your dignity intact. It means you understand that the more you react from the same frequency as those who wronged you, the more you prolong their hold on your life. But when you choose stillness, grace, and inner knowing, you dissolve that attachment and the cycle ends with you. So when you feel that familiar urge to defend yourself, to make them understand, to prove your worth, pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, is this truly worth my light? Or is it time to exit the loop and let life handle the rest? Because Libra, your intuition is sharpening, and your soul is ready for new chapters. And nothing invites renewal more powerfully than the moment you say, I choose peace and wisdom over old stories. That's where healing begins. And that's where your power truly lives. If you're still here, still listening, still feeling the rhythm of these words in your chest, then I know this message found you for a reason. Not because you needed someone to save you, but because your soul is ready to remember its own power. Libra, your journey is not about pleasing everyone, blending in, or dimming yourself to keep the peace. True balance is not compromise, it's alignment. It's knowing where your energy begins and ends. It's learning how to say no with love, and yes with integrity. It's standing firmly in your own center, even when the world around you is asking you to tiptoe. So I want to gently ask you now, what part of you are you finally ready to reclaim? Is it your voice, your boundaries, your ability to say, this is enough? Are there choices you've been postponing simply because they might disappoint others? And if so, what would happen if you chose your peace, just this once, over their approval? I'm not here to tell you that it's easy. Healing rarely is. But you're not alone in it. You have tools now. You have insights. You have numbers to guide you, colors to soothe you, awareness to protect you, and the freedom to choose differently. What happens next in your story isn't up to your past. It's up to your present, up to the choices you make from this very moment forward. You don't need anyone's permission to step into your own clarity. You just need willingness to pause, to breathe, and to ask yourself, is this really mine to carry? Or is it time to release it? Because you, dear Libra, were never meant to live trapped between the expectations of others and the quiet ache of your own suppressed truth. You were meant to shine gracefully, deliberately, and without apology. Let what you've learned today settle into your heart. Let it rise when you find yourself doubting again. Let it guide your decisions from what you wear, to who you share your time with, to the quiet words you whisper to yourself before sleep. Healing is not a performance. It's a daily practice of choosing your truth over your conditioning. Now I want to invite you to take a small action not for me, but for your own energy. In the comments below, type, "I am protected by light and universal justice." Let it be a declaration, a reminder, a promise to your future self that you are no longer available for anything that diminishes your soul. If this video made you feel seen, supported, or understood, hit that like button to affirm your healing. It tells the universe and this community that you're here, you're present, you're doing the work. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Zodiac Whisper Tarot. Because here, we don't just read the stars. We remember who we are beneath them. We grow together, step by step, insight by insight, choice by choice. And maybe, just maybe, someone you love needs to hear this today too. So share this message if it feels right. You never know whose energy you might lift with just one click, one share, one ripple of light. This is your path. And it's unfolding in perfect time. Trust yourself, Libra. Trust what's blooming within. And trust that what you release only makes room for something better.